Let's start with this. Listen, just think of many of our great bigs. Shaq, Akeem, Wilt. They didn't shoot like Jokic. They don't pass like Jokic. They don't grab the ball and lead the break regularly like Jokic. He is the best basketball player in the world right now. He is so skilled and so smart. Shooting, passing, rebounding, facilitating, spacing. He doesn't ponder. He doesn't waste dribbles. He's the best of European basketball. Tremendous skill, no silly ego, high IQ. Think how dominant AD was against Golden State and Memphis. He disappeared for long stretches. Where was he last night? The gap between Jokic and Anthony Davis, an all-time great, is massive. With AD, you're never quite sure which one shows up. Jokic, same guy, shows up every night. Even when he gets tired, it's an easy pivot to a facilitator. The screens, the passing, wow. I mean, put him next to AD. AD was the best player in the Warriors series. The Warriors had to do, even with Steph, everything was to how to mitigate, how to move around, how to AD. None of that. AD shrank, and he's great. With Giannis, with a Tim Duncan, you don't want him at the free throw line late. Same with Shaq. Jokic, oh, he's great there. 83% career free throw shooter. And that no ego thing is substantial. It really is. European basketball, more about the team. Egos have broken up some of our dynasties. He goes in, he plays, he delivers, unselfish. He is selfless and skilled. That's a great combination. All the Nuggets need, in my opinion, to get even better, because a lot of these games were close. They're not a great defensive team. Jokic is never going to be a great defender. Jamal Murray, okay. They need to go get somebody off the bench, go get a defensive stopper somewhere, somebody that doesn't need the ball, doesn't need shots. They need a little depth on the bench. Who wouldn't want to play for this team? Who wouldn't want to play with a center who gets you great looks? What a fun group Denver is. And Jokic is now fallen into historic category. If he wins the championship, and they'll be favored over Miami, I mean, I think they're a better, deeper team. I think it'll be an interesting series. But you got two great coaches now. Not a great coach with Miami and a kid in Boston. Eric Spoelstra is not going to pull off 2 or 3 wins himself. So I would take Denver in the final. Again, if Miami wins tonight, and I think they will at home against Boston that's reeling, Jokic is now entering historic category. If he wins a championship, he's the only guy to do it without an all-star. Never had an all-star. And I think LeBron, who's always been very thoughtful, a thinking man's basketball player, LeBron talked about what he witnessed from Jokic and the Nuggets in this series.
Me and AD were just talking in the locker room for a little bit. I think we came to the consensus that, if not one of the best, probably the best team that we've played since we've been together for our 4 years. They're just well orchestrated, well put together. They have scoring, they have shooting, they have playmaking, they have smarts, they have length, they have depth. One thing about their team, when you have a guy like Joker, who, as big as he is, but also as cerebral he is, you can't really make many mistakes versus a guy like that.
So now the question is, LeBron talked after the game about retirement, and it would be the perfect time, right? It would be clean. Even the great Michael Jordan, what a clunky ending in Washington. LeBron broke Kareem's record. They just beat Steph, the dynasty out west, and the Warriors. He had a great last game. They exceeded expectations. And maybe most of all, Anthony Davis just had his longest stretch of healthy basketball as a Laker. Think that's going to last? Not to be cynical, but if AD crumples down in December and January for a 2 or 3 week stretch, you got LeBron carrying this group of guys, that'd be kind of a sad ending, wouldn't it? He had to do it this year. Why wouldn't he have to do it next year? You know, LeBron is often compared to Michael Jordan. I think he does far more well than Michael Jordan. I don't want to hear about eras. He's a bigger, stronger player. Not the offensive player, probably, but does everything else probably at a better rate, bigger, stronger. It would be a much cleaner ending than Michael Jordan. It could feel like John Elway or the great overlooked quarterback Roger Staubach, where both were very, very good at the end. You could sense their age, and then Elway and Staubach went into business and got really, really rich. I know. He wants to play with his son. It's kind of odd, right? Like, anytime LeBron plays with anybody, like they're in his shadow. Think about the great players LeBron has played with. D. Wade. D. Wade got old on LeBron. Bosh and Kevin Love, going to be Hall of Famers, marginalized. Kyrie Irving, he broke up LeBron's dynasty in Cleveland. Anthony Davis, that's ridiculous. LeBron, 38 years old, was great last night. Where was AD? Those are Hall of Fame level players. Bronny's probably not. So great players get compared to LeBron and often marginalized. I mean, my guess is he wants to play with his son, but then we'd start comparing Bronny to his dad, and that's just unfair. That's unfair to almost anybody that's ever played the game. And I kind of look at LeBron right now, and I think the league is finally kind of ready to move off LeBron. Steph's the biggest TV draw. Here comes Victor Wembanyama. The Knicks are now good and about a piece away from being really good. So you got the New York market, the Boston market. There's several really interesting, fun young teams. Cleveland and Sacramento, the Nuggets. Like, you could argue the league's ready for it. It's time for it. I mean, Tom Brady, when Tom Brady left, he was still very good in certain games, but there were like 4 or 5 guys that were clearly better in their prime. Burrow, Mahomes. And LeBron is still great for a half, like last night, or spurts. But there's 4 or 5 guys consistently who are better. And isn't LeBron too big and too regal for a cheesy retirement tour? I mean, let's be honest. That's like what a 298 Major League Baseball hitter does who played for, 19 years. You get the retirement thing. You get a motorcycle in this city, and you get a gold-plated bat in that city, and it's nice and everything, but this is like the best basketball player in the history of the world. A retirement tour. What are they going to give him, a cowbell in Sacramento? I mean, come on. It's LeBron James. I get he wants to play with his son. I get it. I do. But, man, he casts a big shadow. His son will immediately be compared. Well, he's not going to be his dad. He's not nearly as good as we thought. He's got the last name, but he's not LeBron. That's what's going to happen. That's what happened. D. Wade, Bosh, Kevin Love, AD, all-time Hall of Fame level great players. They shrink next to LeBron. It is a perfect time to move away. My gut feeling, he won't. And one of the reasons he won't was at Crypto Arena last night, and we'll talk about that. I'll say this, the games were close. It's not like that Boston series where it's just man overboard. This is some close games, right? I still contend that 2-minute Jamal Murray torch fest in Denver, game 2, 1-point game to 12. Jamal Murray took it over. That was the tipping point in the series. Lakers had outplayed him. The crowd was subdued. Lakers had a chance to even it. Jamal Murray went off, and it was like you kind of felt like, that's a lot to overcome. Can the Lakers beat Denver 4 out of the next 5 games? We said it that day on the show. That was the moment in the series, and it's fitting. Jokic's best teammate, a young player in his prime, took it over. A lot of those young players, Tatum out east, maybe not ready for a moment like that. J-Max guy Jamal Murray was ready for that moment. And maybe that speaks to Denver. They are ready for this moment.